Have you ever wanted an hour of calm and found instead a river of notifications, videos, and endless scrolling? You tell yourself you will check one message and 2 hours later you are somewhere else, feeling drained and a little lost. This video is for anyone who has felt that tug, like their attention is being pulled in 100 directions by glowing screens. Welcome to BetterSelf. Here we help you grow your life while improving your English. Today, we will learn how to reduce screen time, restore focus, and regain the energy that screens quietly take away. Along the way, you will hear stories, useful ideas, and simple exercises you can try while listening. Chapter 1. The Quiet Trap: Understanding Digital Overload. We live in an age when our phones are like portable lighthouses, always calling for us. They offer light, information, and connection, and yet they can become traps without clear barriers. Digital overload does not arrive with a single loud crash. It comes quietly, like water filling a cup drop by drop. When we first got smartphones, they felt magical. We could reach friends, read news, and find directions. But the same power that gives us so much convenience also stretches our attention thin, making it hard to stay present with a task, a person, or even our own thoughts. Think of your attention as a candle flame. When you direct it toward one thing, the flame burns steady and warm. Each notification, each new open tab, each short message is like a puff of wind. A small gust may not blow the candle out, but many gusts make the flame flicker. Over time, the flame becomes weak. That is what digital overload does to concentration and to the sense of calm inside you. Let me tell you about Clara, a nurse who lives in a busy city. She used to wake up and check her phone immediately. One message led to another, and by the time she left the house, she already felt behind. At work, she would glance at her phone between tasks. At night, she would fall asleep watching short clips. After a while, Clara noticed that she was tired, even when she slept for 8 hours. Her attention at work was fractured, and her patience with patients had lowered. Clara tried to quit overnight, but that was hard. When she started small, turning off non-essential notifications and setting a no-phone rule during meals and the first 30 minutes after waking, she felt a noticeable lift. Her mornings became calmer and she carried that calm into the day. The change was not dramatic at first, but it was steady, like a candle flame protected from gusts. Digital overload is not only about hours on screens. It is about how often your attention is broken. Even short interruptions make it harder to return to deep focus. Scientific research shows that after an interruption, it can take many minutes to regain full concentration. The math is simple. Small interruptions multiplied through the day add up to lost hours and lost mental energy. But digital overload is not a moral failing. It is a design effect. Many apps and platforms use features meant to keep you engaged. Infinite scroll, autoplay, and visual cues that trigger curiosity. The companies that design these features are often very good at understanding human attention. They are not trying to ruin your life. They are trying to make their products sticky. Your responsibility is to decide how much of that stickiness you let into your life. If you want to change this, start by noticing the patterns. Notice what triggers you to open your phone without thinking. Maybe it is boredom, or a small feeling of loneliness, or a desire to escape a difficult thought. Noticing is the first practice. When you notice, you gain a tiny space between impulse and action. That space is the beginning of freedom. Try this now. On the next notification, pause before you act. Breathe in, count to 3, and ask yourself, what do I want right now? Is this urgent? This small pause helps you choose with intention. Over time, those pauses make you less reactive and more in control. In the next chapters, we will explore how to make bigger, sustainable changes, how to design your environment, build better habits, and reclaim hours of your life without feeling deprived. Chapter 2. How Screens Steal Attention. The Science in Simple Terms. What happens in your brain when a notification pings? When you see a new alert, your brain releases a small stream of dopamine, a chemical link to reward and motivation. This is the same system that makes us enjoy good food or feel good after a kind word. The key point is that notifications create a pattern of small, repeated rewards. You begin to expect the ping and to check for it automatically. Over time, this turns into a habit loop. Trigger, action, reward. The problem is that many triggers are not important, just a ping from an app you never opened before. Another important concept is attention residue. If you switch from writing an email to replying to a message, your mind carries a trace of that email to the message. That trace is attention residue. It reduces your ability to perform at your best on the next task. If you change tasks 5 times in an hour, your mind is carrying residue from each previous task, creating a steady fog. That fog feels like low energy, even if you slept well. It is the result of fragmented attention. A practical analogy is watching a movie with frequent, short ads. You can still see the whole film, but the ads keep breaking the story into small pieces. Your brain has to pick up the thread again and again. The longer the disturbance continues, the more tiring the experience becomes. Screens create the same effect in daily life. You never get long, uninterrupted stretches of deep engagement because interruptions keep pulling you back. There is also a social side to attention theft. Social notifications create a sense of social obligation. We imagine people waiting for our reply. This imagined expectation creates urgency that often does not exist. Think of moments when you felt compelled to answer a message right away. Many times it was not about real urgency, but about the imagined weight of the message. Understanding that most notifications are not actually urgent is liberating. You may worry that taking breaks from screens will make you miss important things. In reality, most important things come with follow-up methods. Emergency calls, family members who will call rather than text for urgent needs, or work systems that use clear channels for real emergencies. If you leave your notifications off during a focused session, you are usually fine. And those focused sessions produce better work and less stress. To create better control, we must work with the brain's reward system rather than against it. One useful tactic is to create positive rewards for focused behavior. For example, allow yourself a short, enjoyable screen break as a reward after a full hour of uninterrupted work. This turns the reward system into a helper rather than an enemy. Another tactic is to use friction. Make it slightly harder to access the most distracting apps by moving them to a folder or logging out. Friction reduces automatic checking. Try this experiment. Choose a 2-hour block where you will minimize interruptions. Turn off notifications, close unused tabs, and leave the phone in another room if possible. After the block, write down what you accomplished and how you felt. Many people report work that feels clearer and a sense of progress they rarely feel on a distracted day. This practice trains your brain to associate focus with satisfaction. In short, phones and screens take attention through small, repeated rewards and interruptions. You can change this by creating positive rewards for focus, adding friction to distractions, and practicing longer blocks of uninterrupted work. Over time, these changes strengthen your attention and refill the energy that constant interruptions drain away. Chapter 3. The physical cost: sleep, eyes, and energy levels. Digital overload is not only a mental issue. It affects your body in clear ways. One of the first victims is sleep. Blue light from screens suppresses melatonin, the hormone that helps us fall asleep. When you scroll before bed, your brain receives signals that it is still daytime. Even if you feel tired, your sleep becomes lighter or delayed. The result is that you wake up less refreshed and with lower energy. This is why a night of late scrolling often leads to a slow, foggy morning. Beyond sleep, screens change how we hold our bodies. Many people hunch over devices, causing neck and shoulder tension. This posture problem is sometimes called text neck. Over time, poor posture leads to pain and stiffness, which then becomes another source of distraction and low mood. Eye strain is another common issue. Extended focus on small text or fast-moving images makes the eyes tired. Symptoms include dry eyes, blurriness, and headaches. These physical symptoms may seem small, but they add up, reducing your ability to work well and enjoy life. Energy levels are also affected by screen habits. Constant low-level stress from notifications and the need to respond can keep your adrenal system slightly activated. This state is not the same as productive energy. It feels like nervousness, restlessness, and tiredness at the same time. People often reach for another cup of coffee or more screen stimulation, which creates a cycle that is hard to break. Imagine your body is a battery. Every healthy habit, good sleep, movement, deep breathing in the morning, adds a steady charge to that battery. Digital overload drains the battery faster than normal. You get into a pattern of quick recharges, snacking on dopamine from short videos, caffeine, and late-night screen time, that never fully replaces deep restorative energy. The result is lower resilience to stress and less creativity. Small habits can protect your body from these effects. Start with evening routines. Create a buffer of 30 to 60 minutes before bed when you avoid screens. Use that time to read a physical book, do light stretching, or write a short journal entry. This quiet transition helps your brain shift into sleep mode. Also consider using blue light filters on devices in the evening. They are helpful, but they are not a full solution. The best step is simply to reduce screen time before bed. Another practical change is to set micro breaks for movement. If you work at a desk, follow a rhythm of 50 minutes of work and 10 minutes of movement. Stand up, walk for a few minutes, stretch your neck and shoulders, and change your visual distance by looking at something far away. These micro breaks reduce eye strain and prevent posture problems. If you cannot do long breaks, at least tilt your head back for 10-15 seconds every half hour to relieve neck tension. Also pay attention to light and sleep hygiene. Keep your bedroom dark and cool, and use your bed for sleep rather than late-night scrolling. When you wake, expose yourself to natural light as soon as possible. A short 10-minute walk outside in the morning helps regulate your circadian rhythm and sets a healthier tone for the day. If you feel persistent eye pain, headaches, or chronic fatigue, check with a medical professional. Sometimes the body needs more than habit changes. It needs treatment or new eyewear. But for many people, simple adjustments, less screen time before bed, more movement during the day, and better posture bring noticeable improvements. Try this. Tonight, plan a 30-minute screen-free buffer before bed. Replace it with reading, gentle stretches, or breathing. Notice how you fall asleep and how you feel in the morning. Small, consistent steps produce larger benefits. When your body feels healthier, your attention becomes stronger, and digital overload begins to lose its hold. Chapter 4. The emotional cost, anxiety, comparison, and isolation. Screens connect us to people, and that is a beautiful thing. But they also create emotional problems that are sometimes hard to see. Social media thrives on comparison. When you scroll through curated images of success, relationships, and travel, your brain naturally compares. You may notice an echo of old feelings. I should be doing more. My life is not exciting enough. Or why did they get that job? These comparisons are often unfair because social media shows rehearsed highlights, not real life. Yet our feelings respond as if those highlights were the full story. Another emotional cost is anxiety. The constant flow of news, alerts about events, opinions, and crises keeps us in a semi-alert state. This chronic anxiety can make it harder to find joy in small things and can increase rumination at night. You might find yourself replaying news clips or worrying about things you have little control over. That mental space, when filled with worry, leaves less room for creativity, relationships, and rest. Isolation is another paradox. We have more means to connect, but many people report feeling lonelier. A quick message replaces a long conversation. Likes and reactions give temporary social feedback, but they do not replace the depth of in-person conversations or long phone calls. This kind of shallow engagement can make people feel seen but not known. It is the difference between a spark and a steady flame. Stories help show the emotional cost clearly. Consider Mark, an early employee at a tech company. He used social media to stay in touch with friends, but he found himself measuring his evenings against what others posted. When Mark shifted his evenings to an activity that built skill, guitar practice, the comparison faded. Instead of comparing, he started to create. That change brought a steady sense of accomplishment. He felt more present with friends and less pulled to keep up with online images. You can protect your emotional life with boundaries and active choices. One useful practice is an information diet. Decide how much news and social media you will consume each day, and set specific windows for it. This prevents endless scrolling that feeds worry. Another practice is to create richer social experiences. Replace one shallow interaction a week with a deeper one, a face-to-face meeting, a phone call, or a longer written note to someone you care about. These exchanges nourish connection more than dozens of short messages. You also need to recognize emotional triggers. What types of content make you feel worse? Is it political posts that create anger, or comparison posts that generate envy? Once you know your triggers, you can choose to avoid or limit that content. Curate your feed like you curate a playlist. Follow people who uplift you, and unfollow or mute accounts that drain your energy. There is power in mindful use, too. When you check social media, do it with purpose. Ask yourself before you open an app, do I want information, connection, or distraction? If you want information, go to reliable sources at scheduled times. If you want connection, send a thoughtful message to a friend. If you want to relax, choose a low-cost media habit like a short podcast or a walk without any screen. Try this. Next week, pick one evening to be screen-free for social media. Use that time for a deep conversation, a creative project, or a relaxing walk. Notice the emotional difference. You may find your mood steadier and your evenings more satisfying. Small emotional shifts like this add up, and they start to dismantle the heavy emotional costs that screens can bring. Chapter 5. Designing your digital environment. Systems, not willpower. We often think willpower will solve our problems. We tell ourselves we will stop checking the phone, and at first we succeed, then we slip. The reality is that willpower is a limited resource. A better strategy is to design your environment so the right actions become easy. This means arranging your phone, apps, and devices in ways that support your goals, rather than fight them. Start with simple changes. One effective move is to create a home screen that reflects your priorities. Keep apps you need for work, reading, and learning on the first page. Move distracting apps into a folder on a later page or off the phone entirely. When a habit requires extra steps, like typing a password to open a social app, you introduce friction that can break the automatic checking cycle. Another tactic is to use do not disturb or focus modes during work periods and family time. These settings allow calls from important contacts while blocking other interruptions. Physical separation matters too. Many people sleep with their phone on the bedside table, and that close proximity makes checking effortless. A small shift, charging your phone across the room, creates a natural pause. That pause often means you do not check it at all. You can also create device-free zones in your home, like the dining table or bedroom. These zones send a clear message. Certain spaces are reserved for rest or conversation, not screens. Consider your computer environment as well. Use browser extensions that block distracting websites during work hours, or create separate browser profiles for work and personal browsing. When you open a browser and see only the tools you need for your work, you are less likely to drift into entertainment. Use full-screen writing apps if you need to focus, and close unnecessary tabs before you begin. Another helpful design is scheduled check-ins. Instead of reacting to notifications, plan short windows to process messages and social media, perhaps 3 times per day. During those windows, allow yourself to handle communications efficiently. Outside of those times, trust that most things can wait. This structure reduces the constant low-level anxiety that comes from expecting responses all the time. Think of your digital environment like a kitchen. If you want to eat healthier, you do not try to avoid chips with willpower alone. You place healthy food at eye level and move snacks to a cabinet. The kitchen design nudges you toward better choices. Your digital life needs the same approach. Make productive tools accessible and distracting ones less convenient. Real stories show how powerful environment design can be. There is a teacher named Sam who was losing patience with his students because he felt always behind. He moved social apps into a folder, set a work-focused browser profile, and put his phone on airplane mode during classroom hours. His ability to be present with students improved rapidly. He found that small, consistent environment changes were easier to keep than promises to stop checking. Try this. Right now, take a minute to move one distracting app off your main screen, or set a focus mode for your next work block. Notice how it changes your behavior that day. Small environmental shifts compound into big gains. They make the life you want easier to choose. Chapter 6. Building Tech Habits. Small wins that stack up. Changing a tech habit is the same as changing any habit. Start small and be consistent. Massive changes often fail because they require sudden willpower and radical shifts. Instead, lean on micro habits, tiny, repeatable actions that feel doable. These small wins stack over time and create lasting change. Begin with a clear and specific goal. I will use my phone less is vague. I will not check social media during my morning routine from 7 to 9 a.m. is specific. Specific goals create measurable progress. Next, make the habit easy. If your goal is to read more instead of scrolling, keep a book on your nightstand or a short article saved for the morning. If your goal is to reduce evening screen time, plan a short hobby like 20 minutes of drawing or a few pages of a book. The 2-minute rule is a helpful tool. If you want to build a habit, start with a version that takes 2 minutes. Want to meditate daily? Begin with 2 minutes. Want to practice language learning? Do 2 minutes of flashcards. These tiny actions lower the barrier to start, and the small sense of success builds momentum. Once the 2 minutes feel easy, expand the time naturally. Consistency wins over intensity. It's better to do something small every day than to do a big thing once a week. Daily repetition builds identity. When you repeatedly choose focused work or screen-free evenings, you begin to see yourself as someone who controls technology rather than being controlled by it. That identity shift strengthens new habits. Accountability is powerful too. Share a simple habit with a friend or partner. For example, agree to a daily check-in where you report your progress. Accountability lights a social fire that helps you stay consistent. If you prefer a more private method, use a habit journal. Record each day you follow the habit. The visual progress is motivating and helps you spot patterns when you slip. Another important habit strategy is to replace, not just remove. If you want to stop scrolling at night, give your hands and mind something else that feels rewarding. Warm tea, a puzzle, or a short walk. The replacement should satisfy the need that the screen was fulfilling, whether that need was relaxation, distraction, or connection. Let me share a story. A young writer named Aisha felt her evenings vanish to random videos. She decided on a small habit. Every night after dinner, she would spend 15 minutes writing. No editing, just free writing. She kept a notebook on the kitchen counter and set a phone alarm as a gentle cue. Some nights she wrote less than 5 minutes. Some nights she wrote a lot. Over months, those minutes turned into pages, and her sense of creative energy returned. The key was the tiny, consistent start. It is also essential to be kind to yourself. Habit change is not a straight line. You will have days when you slip. When you do, notice without harsh judgment and return to the practice. Shame makes habits harder to change. Curiosity and small actions make change possible. Try this. Pick one tech habit and make it very specific. Create a 2-minute version to start and do it today. Track it for a week and notice how your attention and energy respond. Small wins accumulate into a new normal. Chapter 7. Reclaiming deep focus, single tasking, and flow. Deep focus is like a rare plant. It needs the right soil and time to grow. Our culture celebrates multitasking, but true productivity comes from single tasking, giving one thing your full attention for a meaningful stretch of time. Single tasking allows you to enter flow, a state where time seems to disappear and work feels effortless. Flow requires a clear goal, immediate feedback, and a task that matches your skill level. Screens often interrupt this process, making flow rare and shallow. To reclaim focus, design work blocks that encourage single tasking. Block 60 to 90 minutes of uninterrupted time for your most important work. During this block, eliminate distractions, silence notifications, close unrelated tabs, and put your phone out of reach. Use a simple cue to start. A deep breath, a specific playlist, or a short ritual like lighting a candle. Rituals signal your brain that it is time to focus and prepare it to enter flow. Start with the most meaningful tasks. If you have an important project, choose the time when your energy is highest, often in the morning, and dedicate a block to it. Protect that block like a meeting with someone important. When you treat your focused work as a non-negotiable appointment, it becomes easier to protect. There are helpful techniques to enhance single tasking. The Pomodoro method, 25 minutes of work followed by a 5-minute break, works for many people because it balances focus and rest. Other people prefer longer stretches of 60-90 minutes followed by 15-20-minute breaks. Experiment to find the rhythm that fits your attention span and task type. The key is consistent, focused blocks with planned breaks. Flow also benefits from clarity. When you begin a work block, know exactly what you want to accomplish. A clear, specific objective reduces the time you waste deciding what to do next. For example, instead of work on report, set a goal like write 500 words of the project summary. Measurable goals help you enter flow quickly and give you clear feedback when you finish. Real-life stories help illustrate the power of single tasking. There is a designer named Matteo who split his mornings between meetings and checking messages. He felt productive, but not proud. When he shifted to a routine where his first 2 hours were devoted to deep design work with no interruptions, his output improved dramatically. He solved problems faster, his designs were better, and the sense of accomplishment made the rest of his day calmer. You can also protect focus by communicating boundaries. Tell teammates or family members about your focused blocks so they know when you are unavailable. Use shared calendars to show protected time. When others see that your focus is scheduled, they respect it more easily. Finally, celebrate small wins. After a focused block, take a real break and notice how good it feels to finish a meaningful stretch of work. This positive feedback reinforces the habit of single tasking and makes it easier to repeat. Try this. Schedule a 60-minute focus block for your most important task tomorrow morning. Prepare the environment, set a clear goal, and remove distractions. After the block, note what you achieved and how you felt. Repeating this practice builds the muscle of deep focus. Chapter 8. Replacing screens with meaningful activities. Joy, skill, and rest. Reducing screen time is easier if you replace it with activities that satisfy the same underlying needs: rest, connection, creativity, or stimulation. Without replacements, the temptation to return to the old habit is strong. The best replacements are simple, accessible, and rewarding. Start by listing what your screen time often gives you. Is it relaxation after work? Social connection? A break from boredom? For each need, choose an alternative that fits. If you want relaxation, try a short walk, a warm bath, or mindful breathing. If you seek connection, schedule a call with a friend or a shared activity like cooking together. If you crave stimulation, try reading an article, listening to music, or learning a small skill like juggling or drawing. Creative activities are especially powerful replacements because they build skill and joy. For example, learning to play a short song on the guitar takes focused practice, but returns a sense of accomplishment that scrolling rarely gives. Writing a paragraph a day, drawing for 10 minutes, or practicing language learning with a partner offers steady progress. The satisfaction from skill building is lasting and fuels motivation. Physical activity is another top replacement. Movement reduces the urge to scroll by changing your body state. A short 20-minute walk outside clears the mind and resets attention. Exercise also improves sleep and mood, which reduces the emotional triggers that lead to more screen time. Even simple movement breaks, stretching, dancing to a favorite song, or doing bodyweight exercises, remind your body that it can feel good without a screen. Rest is important, and screens can masquerade as rest. Real rest includes moments where your mind is not frantically consuming content or reacting to notifications. Practices like breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, or short naps can give real renewal. A 15-minute intentional rest can be more restorative than an hour of passive scrolling. Social rituals replace shallow digital interactions with meaningful contact. Plan a weekly dinner with friends, a phone call with someone you care about, or a shared hobby. These interactions are deeper and more nourishing than the brief likes and comments that make social media feel satisfying but leave you empty. Let's consider someone named Priya, who used to watch videos for hours in the evening. She started small by replacing 1 hour of video time with a new habit, cooking a new recipe on Sundays and inviting a friend occasionally. The new habit gave her pleasure and connection. It also improved her skills and created memories. After a few months, the hours she once spent passively were now moments of creation and real social joy. Try this. Pick one screen habit you want to reduce and replace it with a specific activity for 1 week. If you usually scroll after dinner, replace that time with 20 minutes of journaling or a walk. Notice the difference in how you feel over the week. Replacements make change both possible and enjoyable. Chapter 9. Digital Minimalism in Relationships. Boundaries that honor connection. Technology can enhance relationships, but it can also create distance when used without intention. When one person is present on a screen while the other is talking, the signal sent is subtle but powerful. You have to compete with this device for my attention. This is a form of micro-rejection. Over time, those small moments add up, creating frustration and loneliness. Healthy boundaries protect relationships by prioritizing presence. One useful practice is to set phone-free times for important interactions, dinners, walks, or conversations. Make a rule that during these times, phones are on silent and out of sight. This rule may feel awkward at first, but it quickly becomes a sign of respect and investment in the relationship. Another practice is to use technology for shared experiences. Instead of each person scrolling alone, plan activities that both enjoy and that require attention. A board game, a joint cooking session, or planning a weekend trip together. Shared activities create memories and strengthen the bond more than parallel device use. Take the example of Elena and Josh, a couple who found themselves on separate couches, each with a phone. They felt disconnected and slightly resentful. They decided to start a nightly ritual, 20 minutes of conversation without any screens. They used prompts at first. What was the best part of your day? And slowly, the conversation deepened. The ritual cost nothing but their phone's attention, and it rebuilt a sense of closeness. When children are involved, modeling healthy tech use matters. Kids learn from what they see. Parents who use phones mindfully and explain why certain times are device-free give children a clear example. Family rules like no phones at the dinner table or during homework teach boundaries that support real relationships and learning. Boundaries also mean discussing expectations with friends and coworkers. If someone expects immediate replies, explain your communication norms. You might say, I check messages at 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6 p.m. If something is urgent, call me. Clear agreements reduce anxiety and build mutual respect. Most people appreciate clarity because they do not want to create stress for you. Be gentle but firm. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially at first. Expect some pushback or awkwardness. Remember that you are creating space for better relationships And over time, people will respect that space. Try this. Choose one relationship and set a simple phone-free ritual, 10 to 20 minutes of focused time this week. Start with curiosity and small questions. Notice how the quality of connection changes. Small rituals like this create a foundation for deeper, lasting relationships. Chapter 10. Tech tools that help. Using technology to fight technology. It may seem odd to use technology to reduce technology, but some tools can help manage your screen time. The key is to use them with intention, not as a crutch. Many devices have built-in features like screen time, digital well-being, or focus modes that allow you to limit app use, schedule downtime, and receive reports about your habits. These features are helpful because they turn vague intentions into measurable actions. Start by looking at your usage report. And so maybe usage report. Most phones show which apps you use most and how much time you spend on them. This data is not meant for shame, it is meant for awareness. When you see the numbers, you can make smarter choices. If you find that one app consumes large swaths of time, that is a clear target for change. Use app limits to set daily maximums. If you want to keep social media to 30 minutes a day, set a limit and stick to it. Use focus or do not disturb modes during deep work. For stubborn habits, consider apps that block distracting sites during scheduled work periods. There are also apps that create gentle accountability by locking certain apps for a set time and requiring a waiting period to unlock them. But tools are not magic. They work best when combined with clear goals and small habit changes. If you set an app limit, but do not change the environment that triggers the habit, you will find ways around it. Pair tool use with environmental changes. Move apps off the main screen, set your phone to charge in another room overnight, and schedule specific times for messages. Another powerful approach is to automate useful actions. Use calendar integrations to block focus time, set reminders for movement breaks, and schedule no-screen evenings in advance. Automation reduces decision fatigue because you plan your boundaries when you are calm, and then let the system support you when you are busy. There are also apps for replacement activities, language learning tools, guided meditation apps, and curated audio that helps you replace mindless scrolling with growth-oriented content. Use those apps as part of a balanced routine. For example, swap 20 minutes of social media for 20 minutes of a podcast that teaches something you want to learn. Real stories show the balanced approach. Omar, a developer, used screen time limits but paired them with a nightly ritual of reading a short story. The tools helped him stop automatic scrolling, while the ritual satisfied the need for relaxation. Over time, he felt more energy and less impulse to check his phone. Try this. Check your phone's usage report today. Pick one app to limit and set a reasonable daily cap. Pair that limit with a replacement activity and a physical change, like moving the phone away during evening time. Tools work best when they are part of a broader plan. Breaking free from digital overload is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing practice that requires patience, curiosity, and occasional resets. Long-term success comes from systems that support well-being and from the habit of reflecting on what works and what does not. Start with a seasonal reset. Every few months, do a short review of your digital life. Check your screen time, notice which apps steal your attention, and see where you feel emotionally drained. These check-ins are like cleaning your house. They keep small problems from becoming big ones. During a reset, consider a short digital fast, 24 hours or a weekend, if you need a clear break. These fasts can be powerful reminders of how much agency you have. Another long-term strategy is to cultivate a few deep interests that naturally reduce the appeal of screens. Hobbies that require skill and attention, playing an instrument, learning a language, gardening, woodworking, give you growth and satisfaction. The more you invest in real-world skills, the less meaning digital time provides. Community matters too. Join or create groups that support your goals. A reading group, a hiking club, or a language exchange creates social reinforcement. When your social circle values presence and skill, it becomes easier to maintain healthy habits. Practice compassion for the times you slip. Long-term behavior change is a marathon, not a sprint. Focus on small improvements and celebrate them. Track your progress in a simple way: a calendar chain, a journal, or a monthly reflection. Seeing months of small wins builds confidence and reduces the temptation to revert to old patterns. Finally, be flexible. Technology changes, and so will your needs. What works now may need adjustment in the future. Keep experimenting. Use data to guide choices, but do not let numbers become the only measure of success. Quality of life matters more than metrics. If your attention is better, your sleep is deeper, and your relationships are richer, you are winning. Try this long-term practice. Once a month, spend 30 minutes reviewing your digital habits. Note one thing to stop, one thing to start, and one thing to continue. This simple framework keeps change manageable and steady. We have covered a lot: how screens quietly steal attention, the physical and emotional costs, and practical steps to regain focus, energy, and deeper connection. Remember, this is not about rejecting useful technology. It is about choosing when and how to use it so that it serves your life rather than the other way around. Start small: one focus block, one screen-free evening, one boundary in a relationship. Over time, these small choices build momentum and create a life with more attention, energy, and meaning. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to begin. Protect your candle flame, design your environment, and stack small wins until they become habits. If you take one action today, move your phone out of your bedroom, set a 60-minute focus block, or plan a screen-free dinner, you will start reclaiming time that belonged to you all along. If this video helped you, subscribe to BetterSelf for more lessons that grow your life while improving your English. Keep practicing, keep reflecting, and keep choosing presence. You can do this, one deliberate step at a time.